Hey, welcome back. Today I'm with the boy Marcus. We decided to get another pod in. He's here in Bangkok. We're going to chop it up, have a little catch up, see what the state of the world is, and really go through a few things. So, why don't you tell the people how things have been going?
Sweet, cheers for having me back. I think we caught up a couple of months ago down in Hua Hin with some of the boys. It's been about 6 months. So, we've just been down in Hua Hin, me and a close friend, grinding away, leveling up and up for a little trip, change of pace, up in Bangkok. Just seeing some mates and getting out of the grind a little bit.
Yeah, good stuff. It's been a while. We've both been flying around the places. You've been over Vietnam, doing some bike tours. Likewise, as went over there for a bit of a visa run and see, get out of the city for a bit. What was your bike trips like?
Yeah, so I like the motorbike riding. We wanted to do the Ha Giang Loop in Vietnam for quite a few months and finally got around to doing it. That was an epic trip, about 5 days, just driving through the mountains, big loop, bit of time off work, just working like an hour or two a day. So it's nice to enjoy the 4-hour work week. But it's one of the best trips you can do on the bike in Asia. So definitely recommend it.
Is that something that you've been working from, the 4-hour work week? I've not actually dropped into it, but it's basically like scaling things back and just doing the most important tasks right and just a really focused block.
Yeah. 4-hour work week is pretty classic reading. The whole idea of the 4-hour work week is to, essentially not have your time caught up with how much you get paid. And I guess the overall thing with 4-hour work week is DEALER is like the acronym that he uses. So the first one is D is for definition. So you want to define your ideal life. E is eliminating essentially as much as you can, like administration, bits and pieces. A is for automate. So if you can't eliminate it, you can automate it. And then lastly is what you call liberation. And after reflecting on that, that's essentially why me and my close mate Jared have been down in Hua Hin, like grinding super hard, because next year we want to go over to Europe. And I don't want to be in the grind mode while I'm over there. So we've defined what we want to do. We defined that we want to travel around Europe, do a little bit of work, see some stuff, explore, go to Egypt, etc. And I guess since we talked, I've done a lot of work on the team and the system. So we're at a pretty good point now where I'm making the same money, but my time isn't caught up fully in the business. So that's good. It's a great book, though. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, for those that don't know, you're in like lead gen at the moment. Lead gen, and do you want to describe that a little bit just to get a bit of an idea of what you do?
Yes, I run a marketing agency, mainly doing Google Ads, SEO, lead generation for construction companies. So I work a little bit different to most agencies where you'll like sign a client, you'll be working with them closely. You'll be doing their website, doing their ads, they'll be hitting you up. What I do is I position it a little bit differently because I know that the clients just want their phone to ring. So I'm like, hey, just pay me. I'll get you your leads. Let me sort everything. It's completely done for you. You just sit back and take the phone calls, book the site visits with the clients that call up, which is nice because if their phone's ringing, then mine's not.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like the way that's set up. It's more, focused on the customer, and like you say, having yourself, detached as much as possible, automated. You're not stressing over things, and that's what I notice with a lot of guys is they think that more is better, and it's not necessarily the case. I've found as well, even through my own mistakes, and you trying to grind through it and do more hours, or find the best way to squeeze every ounce out of the day, but. I think it only lasts for a certain amount of time, and you don't do that good of a work. You try and fool yourself into thinking that you can, beast your way through success. But then it goes back to, how do you actually want to live? How do you want to spend your time? And a lot of people don't want, not deep down, we like working because it gets us to where we want to be, but we don't actually want to be doing that grind tooth and nail to the end of time. So, it's coming up with a way to make money remotely for people that are watching, maybe that, you're in the West, or you want to leave and you want to move to somewhere that isn't where you are at the moment. It's having a remote income and finding a way to do that. And a lot of the time it isn't which one you're doing. Because at the end of the day, each method of making money online works, but I think it's just sticking with and actually committing to one thing, which is something I said to you recently. Is when I first came out to Thailand, I hadn't secured my method of income yet. I was doing many different things, and I wasn't actually locked in on one thing. And you don't make as much progress. In fact, you make no progress, and you just burn yourself out. So, going back to that same thing, what have you found, sort of relating to that 4-hour work week, has been the best for you to sort of pick one thing? What was it that defined it for you?
Yeah. I suppose I studied marketing at university, finished all that, and then same in the UK, you do like your OE. So I went to Bali. I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, got my scooter, got the beaches. This is awesome. Like, why do I have to go back to like normal life, get a job and all that? So I thought, hey, I could probably use this marketing to have my own business. So for me, that was what was the catalyst. And yeah, like I said last time, it took me like 5 years. I was stuck at about $1,000 a month. But relating to the 4-hour work week, if you are like at home and you not really want to be, you think that having your own business and all of this stuff is quite a lot to take a bite out of, then back to the book. D is for definition. So define your ideal life. For me, at that time, it was in Bali, it was a $5 backpackers per night, a $5 scooter, and 3 like $2 meals. So that was the dream life. It was like $1,000 a month. So you start on that, and you come over here and meet other guys and just consistently level up, and your D for definition keeps expanding. So don't get too disheartened if it seems like a big mountain in front of you. Just literally right now, if you are thinking about it, write down what you need to have that ideal day, and you can live it pretty affordably to get started and get on the bike of entrepreneurship. Keep riding, and then you'll blow past what you thought was possible if you're around the right people.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about the community, and I've always preached this. I wouldn't be here in Bangkok in the first place if it wasn't for the fact of being in a good community with people who are driven, that are also on their own goals, that don't take no for an answer. They're actually out there trying to improve their lives and stuff. But how I was going to relate to that is, you mentioned about leveling up. Some guys see a little bit of taste of success. They have a decent couple of months. They've been out here for a small time. They sort of get a taste of the high life. They start climbing the ladder. They get a better condo. Yeah. They might drop something on a rollie. And then next thing you know, they have a bad month, and it sort of all comes crashing down. How do you sort of manage do you feel like you can manage the emotions of like wanting to jump to that next thing, or, describe that a little bit?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I did that exact thing back in December last year. I was down in Hua Hin, which is a bit of a sleepy beach town, which is great for locking in, but, making decent money. And I was like, fuck it, I want to come back to Bangkok and, get the rollie. I signed up for a 1-year lease for a expensive ass apartment with like 4 bedrooms. I was like, I'm just going to lock in hard, like be a G and all that. And it wasn't really coming from the right place. And within a week, I was like literally anxious and depressed. So I just cancelled everything, packed all my stuff, and went back to Hua Hin, and felt really good again. And that was about 10 months ago now. But it's quite easy to get caught up in that. And I think Bangkok, especially, there's lots of girls around. There's lots of fancy shops, and there's always people going out partying. So it could be easy to get into that. But if that's what you want, like, by all means. Like, I've done plenty of partying when I was a bit younger, and I don't regret any of it. But I think it's just important to know what your values are, and if you're living in alignment with them, you'll be able to feel that. And if you're not, then you'll probably notice it subconsciously. But if you have the wisdom to feel it and know that something's off, then it's maybe time to reconsider what you're doing.
Yeah, wise words, and you'll feel it. I've been there sometimes where, not necessarily since I've been here in Thailand, but like in the past where I was, working, you feel like I'm not aligned to this. This isn't what I actually want to do, or whether you don't feel fulfilled with something. But it's very easy to sort of get caught up in the FOMO of, like, you see other people doing well and you want to sort of almost replicate that. You become another personality that you wouldn't necessarily feel like you actually are. and it's good to catch yourself. Good to have good people around you to also tell you as well, like call you out on things, and that's the power of the network and actually being around people who are going to the right places. Obviously, there's good and bad people everywhere, but I think it's easy to get caught up in the bad things if you don't have that right team, which I think we've all been like pretty grateful to. We're all very grateful to have that good set of people around us. Sort of like going into the future, then, do you see yourself? You mentioned you like going into. You want to go to Europe, do some traveling. What are you looking to get out of that? Is it experience? Is it to take a break, or what's the sort of motives behind it?
Yeah, I suppose now that we're in a pretty good place with the business, that I don't need to be there all the time. Still takes a fair amount of work, but it's not like the grind that it's been while I was in Bangkok and working 12-hour days and whatnot. So it's good to see past the fog and say, hey, like actually we can keep moving. I've been in Thailand for nearly 3 years now, a little bit of Vietnam. I just want to see the world, while I can. 32 now, so I want to think about having a family in a couple of years. I don't want to be an old dad, so yeah, the motivation is to explore. And now that we've got the freedom, like you say, there's no need to just keep grinding to the next, 100K, 200K, whatever, more rollies. We've got a bit of presence in space now, so we're going to enjoy a bit of travel, just see what happens, see what unfolds, and if I find a place that I like more than Thailand, we might settle down for a little bit. But yeah, Thailand's a spot. It's been loving it here, but just explore, see what happens. Really, yeah. Just open up the horizons a bit.
For sure, I definitely think it's important for people that are watching. It's important to lock that in first before you go and do that sort of free as a bird traveling, because you need to have something to not fall back on, but keep you supported throughout the way. So it's important to reiterate that you've got things sorted now, and that gives you the freedom to go out there and do it. But also, like you are doing, not waiting to get to a certain level to live. Like actually living once things are the ball's rolling and you can keep sort of the momentum up with 4 hours a week, actually living and enjoying your 30s or 40s. But one thing that popped into my mind is I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. Obviously, this is going to go out there, and I've probably adapted my personality around a lot of content that I've watched over the last sort of 10 years since I've been watching Casey Neistat in the very beginning and vlogging and all that sort of stuff. And one thing that popped into my mind is a guy called Kevin Samuels. I don't know if you've seen this guy. He's an African-American guy who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but he was an image consultant. And one of his opinions is, I want to hear sort of what you think about this, is men start living after 40. The idea that the teens, 20s and 30s of a man is just for building experience, and the real life of a man starts at 40. What's your interpretation on that? Have you got any, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I heard a man's life starts at 30, 40, 50. It doesn't really matter. Like the underlying sentiment of that is a man's life, I guess you could say, improves or matures as you get older. Your like your fitness, health, relationships, confidence, all kind of climbing. But it's funny though, because you don't really hear that when you're locked into the matrix or back home in Auckland for me, or New Zealand, or maybe the same for you in the UK. You kind of think at 30, it's fun's over, it's time to get a family and kids, and hopefully see the boys at the pub on the weekend. It's funny how it's completely flips, because my mindset was, shit, I'm 30 soon, like it's over almost. And I was actually about to turn 30, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to turn 30 in my corporate job. So that was a catalyst for me to like finally just book the ticket overseas and just go for it, which I should have done sooner. But yeah, I think it's definitely true that life can improve if you're on the ball as you age as a man. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the case. The more and more that I see, and the more that I develop, the older that I get, and the further away from that sort of normal week in, week out lifestyle, the way of thinking, is that everyone like leaves school and they're like, well, it's all downhill from here, and like nothing's as good as childhood. And it's like, we've got it all to come, and the fact. Well, if you put the work in, that's the important point. Is you actually do progress and you do put the work in, life will get better. But it's that hope and it's the understanding that if you do, then you can. Then it opens up the possibilities and the mindset of actually getting to the next level. I think a guy called First Man, I don't know if you're aware of him, he has a similar sort of way of thinking. It's called the male advantage.
Yeah.
And that's a cracking PDF if you could get a hold of that. And it actually changed. I passed that on to one of my friends that I used to work with, and it completely changed his mindset on like his relationship. And I don't know whether it was because of that, but he ended up then leaving that girl and looking for better stuff after that. So it's almost like the whole mindset that you're led to believe, growing up or in the normal lifestyle that you're on a downhill trend, and the fact that it's just going to keep getting better if you put the work in is a real, a relief and also a source of motivation to keep working, that you can actually achieve these next things. What do you think? I think we spoke about it a little bit on the way up here in the lift. What do you think is the biggest thing that guys get caught up with, whether that's in Thailand or in the world at the moment? What's the biggest thing that people are wasting their energy on that is going to stop them from growing?
I guess it could be quite a few things, but first thing that comes to my head is being locked into society too much. Like, I'm a pretty individual person. Like, freedom is my main value, so I might have a bit of a biased opinion, but just being too locked into society, friends, the pressure of opinions, because essentially it won't let you kind of think what you want from the one life that you have. There's so much influence. Even for me, like back in New Zealand, I felt like I was quite an individual person. I like to read books, watch podcasts, but you can only do that so much because the weight and the pressure of society is too strong, which is why I think getting out can broaden your worldview so much, because other people are on the same path. There's no judgment. People are accepting, so you can explore your own kind of perspectives and worldview, and not just explore it, but actually take action and start living in alignment more. So, I mean, before I left, I pretty much isolated myself in my room, just grinding away. And that's what kind of gave me the takeoff to get out of that society and those worldviews, and I've carved out my own, and I couldn't be happier. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in short, if I understand that correctly, is outside influences, reduce it as much as you can, and sort of just keep your own focus and learn from your own sort of mistakes, and try not to listen to everything at once, sort of thing.
I think once you've established what your values are, what you want out of life, then putting yourself in an advantageous position is the rocket fuel. Whereas if you're at home, you're unhappy, you feel inertia or incongruence inside yourself, then that's when you've got to be very selective of who you're around, what you're listening to, what you're watching. But once you've cemented that to a decent degree, of course, then you want to be around people with similar worldviews. But at the same time, it's good to have conflicting views, because then that's how you can learn and change things up. Like, me and Jared have been grinding pretty hard the last couple of months, and in the back of my head, it's like, I know there's a way to do this where I have a team and systems. And if I was around other guys with agencies, actually, Tom Hutch in the network, he came down to Huahine with Ehab, and we were at dinner together, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing with your DMs? Like, are you managing them?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm managing them," and he was a little bit taken back, and his taken backness made me think, shit, I'm doing something wrong here. And since then, we've got someone in doing the DMs, a full Go High level setup. Nice. And it's completely unlocked so much time for me. So, yeah. Depends where you're at. If you're stuck at home, everyone's on the piss, and that's not what you want, then probably don't want to be exposing yourself too much while you create the leap to the next level. But if you are in alignment with who you are and where you want to be, then it's probably okay to be vulnerable to those other influences because you've got your internal compass like dialed in.
Yes, great bit of advice. 100%. I think, I like what you said about the incongruence, being in alignment with who you are, where you want to go. But a lot of people find that they actually don't know what that is. And I found the best way to figure that out was to try new things, but also at the same time is write down what I didn't want and then backtrack and sort of go in the reverse, the elimination process of elimination, and figure out really where I wanted to go. And then also being able to accept that what you want now isn't what you're going to want in the future. But as long as you're going towards that general direction, and just try and make the best decision you can at the moment with the resources and the cards that you've got, is the best choice. But
on that note, it's hard, right? If you are in the hometown, not where you want to be, don't have the business, don't have the rollie, don't have the network, whatever it is that you want, it's very hard to be in that position, wanting to get to the next position and creating it while you're in that position. Like, once you make the jump, once you leave, that's when things can speed up. So it's a very hard place. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I think you've got to panic and do everything you can to get out of it. And I think that means saving as much money as you can. Maybe you can't do it in person because there's no entrepreneurs in your area, but online there's communities you can join. Isolating the amount of time you're spending with people who aren't really where you want to be while you're in that vulnerable position. And then what I did was booked a one-way ticket 8 months out or 7 months out. So I had that commitment. It was real, because if you just keep plodding along, there's never the perfect time for anything. So it's tough. It's a tough place to be in when you're in that spot, for sure.
Yeah, and the beginning is always going to be the hardest because you've got to actually build the momentum to start the ball rolling, rather than when you are sort of 2 months in, 10 months in, 2 years down the line. You've actually got some systems in place, like you've got, you know the framework, you know what works and what doesn't, you know how you like to operate, and you sort of refining as you go. But I found as well, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was trying too many things and I was trying to optimize something that wasn't working. So you basically, you have to take it as it comes, and the beginning won't be easy. And in fact, it's never going to get any easier if you don't sort of have those frameworks in place. So going at it and working now to have time later or freedom later is that delayed gratification you hear everyone talk about. But also understand that just because you're going to have more time and freedom doesn't mean that it's going to be easier as well. Like, there's every chance that it's going to be as hard, if not harder, later, because the problems are just going to get larger and the risks are just going to keep getting bigger if you are looking to keep accelerating. But don't let that put you off from the mission, because I think the most important thing for us to be doing is not just to be chasing the next level, but to be working on ourselves to the point where we just keep getting to that next level.
There's a quote by Hormozy, I think, and essentially, if your business isn't growing, it's dying. And that probably could be said for your personality and your health, everything. So it's just a constant upward spiral, ideally, rather than down. I don't think flat or equilibrium is like a law of nature where things can just remain exactly as they are. It's a law of nature for things to.
I think it's entropy.
Yeah, entropy is the default state. If you don't take action, then that's the default. It's not stay where you are.
Yeah, because everything is always going to be cooling down compared to the environment. It's like you have a hot drink on a cold day. Entropy is the fact that the heat is going to dissipate from the cup, and you're always going to have to be fighting to keep the cup warm or putting more energy in. So you're constantly fighting against the laws of the universe, whether you like it or not. So you might as well be doing something that you want is going to get you to closer to where you want to be, because you're never really going to arrive. That's another thing to realize, is you're never going to be that place. You're just going to be closer to the idea of your dream, and then just putting yourself into the mindset, which I still need to work on, and I think everyone does, is the fact that the work is the fun, the commitment, or not the grinding, but just applying yourself to a goal, that is the life, rather than this idealistic dream of the perfect day for eternity. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything that you sort of wanted to ask me? Any questions or anything popped up? Anything you wanted to tell the people about?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose we were talking before, you've been in Bangkok for about 9 months. Just run me through the reasoning for the UK to see family or whatever. I know when I went back, I broke my finger, so I wanted to go back and get it fixed. Unfortunately, it didn't get fixed, but it was definitely a bit of a tough couple of weeks. So, yeah, interested to see what your expectations are, if there are any of going back, and what might happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important. I'll go into it deeper, but the expectations is a massive thing. And going into any new thing, what you expect it to be is likely it's not going to be.
Yeah.
And sort of don't try and attach something to that, because it will just lead to disappointment. But the idea around it is it just makes sense. At the moment, it's just like a gut feeling, like this is the right decision to make. So I've been in Bangkok since January 10th, 2025. It's now, start of September, and my condo lease expires in about 30 days. And I thought, do I really want to be living in this condo for like another 6 months to a year? Do I want to stay in this part of the city? Do I want to have a different lifestyle, perhaps slightly further out, cheaper living, bigger room, all that sort of stuff? Those things that you have to think about. Because when you first come to Bangkok, I want to be in the epicenter. I want to be where all my friends are, which is super convenient and it's great. And I would recommend being closer than further away. But I've noticed my lifestyle, the way I like to live, is a little bit more detached. I spend a lot of time at home doing work, and I train at my own condo, and I do go out and see friends a couple of times a week. But I'm a pretty, I'm comfortable in my own skin, so I don't mind being a little bit further away from people, perhaps less busy. And then with all that in mind, my condo lease sort of ends in 30 days. So I'm thinking it might be good to go and just like check out, really slim down all of my belongings, because I feel like I've got accumulated loads of items that I don't necessarily need, which have helped me so far. They've been great, and I'm still fairly lean compared to what it could be, but I really want to slim down to like almost a suitcase and a backpack and just be free again, because I almost feel like I've got weight on me. Like I'm carrying stuff around that I don't necessarily need. So that's one thing, is it will force me to slim down, to consolidate what I've got, and then to have a reset, see family, hug the parents, and really cherish that. Because I do think about these things, like if I don't see my parents, if I see my parents once or twice a year for the next 15, 20 years, it's only 30 times. Like, it's not a lot. No. It's not a lot of time. So with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, it's September 2025, you can work it out. I think it's good to go home and see your parents every now and again. And I haven't really wanted to go home until now, so that's one of the reasons. It's a good feeling, and I'm following it.
Nice. Yeah, trusting the gut's super important. There's definitely been times where I've felt gut things, but you don't listen to them, and then you're going to pay the price. So, good on you for going back, seeing the family. I think about that as well. My parents are about 65, so once a year, maybe 15 times. It's not a lot. So you got to remember that. Got to look back to when the journey first began and reflect and take moments to breathe. And Bangkok, I'm quite the same. It can be easy to just be in the apartment all day grinding, and it's like you're in this big city, and it's almost like can be quite alone. But then you have your scheduled Thursday dinners or the Saturday sparrings, and for me it almost felt a little bit scheduled, like too much like clockwork. But I'm not really a city guy too much. But so what's the plans after the UK?
Yeah, so I've sort of got a 30 days in mind. Pop back home, see the family, probably go out and get in the nature, really bathe in the trees and get out there and do some hiking again, because that's what I used to love doing in the UK. Weekends, camping, hiking, going out and getting in. Probably do a bit of cold dips in the mountain water, which is just like top of the range for me, really, like the best things that I could be doing. That's probably like what I'll go out there and do. And then on the way back, I'll come back, and me and Joe will probably lock in, get a condo for like a month,
Yeah.
and then just set the standard,
Yeah.
and really set the framework and keep each other accountable, almost like a Tate style house. You know, you train, I train, I work, you work.
Yeah.
No excuses, and just really set a new foundation for the next chapter of my life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I know, rather, that I've gone through this sort of 9 months and I've set the new standard, and it's sort of almost like time to evolve again.
Yeah.
I'm going to the next level. I've got the online income secured. Now it's time to perfect what I've got, really realize and figure out what I want for life, and just continue to evolve and realize and understand, and then put it into action what I can really do.
Yeah.
So and then it all goes back to who you're surrounding yourself with. Because I live alone at the moment, I want to put myself around someone who's also driven, one, to help me and also to help him as well, so we can both be working towards something better, and to realize our true capability.
Yeah, for sure. Being in that kind of Tate style partnership or group is super powerful. You know, on days that you don't want to get out of bed and keep the pace of the lock in, then you know your bro's gonna have your back, and if he's feeling good and you're not, then he's gonna pull you up. And me and my friend Jared have been doing that for the last 3 to 6 months. And right now, I was reflecting as we drove up in the printing van with Jared, like, damn, bro, like we're locked in, like we're both, 85, 86 kg, been consistently training, like benching, squatting. Jared's been doing some cold approaches. Business is good. Jared's business has leveled up. He's gone from not knowing where the next job's coming to needing a team to help him out. My business is systematized. Been training 6 days a week. And you take a second, you're like, shit, like this lock-in's like, it's been mean. Like, there's no better feeling, bro. It's like you're going to war. Like, it's a great feeling. So looking forward for that for you. I guess, do you have like a compass for the 6 months preceding? Like, is there an income target? Is there a lifestyle target? Is there a vision of that future state that you might have? Or?
Yeah, that's something that I realise I need to work on, because I was talking with my friend Joe earlier, and we both had the dream of moving away from home, getting to Thailand and securing that online income. We both then achieved that, and then it was like there was nothing after that. And then that's when we sort of realised, hold on, we're in this sort of like coasting phase. Yeah. Entropy is going to come and get us. So we both realised, we're going to set a goal. This is going to happen. Almost like when you book the flight, you've sort of assigned a time and a framework and a goal. I think now it's time to realise where I want to be at the end of that 1 month. Yeah. That'll be my sort of 3 month goal, because that'll be sort of 90 days from now. Yeah. And it'll be a month before the new year. So we'll be ahead. We won't be dropping on, January 1st, 2026. We'll already be flying into the new year with a load of momentum, and a different level of just energy for it. Yeah. But I think that's a good point to round it out on. It's great to hear that you guys are doing well and rolling, and actually going and taking that next step and exploring Europe. And I think it'll be awesome to do, and it will be great to see you do some vlogs and content, and you and Jared are going to chop it up. It's going to be looking awesome, and I'm looking forward to the next pod. I'm sure we'll be in somewhere eventful, whether it will be in Europe or whatnot. But it's been a pleasure talking, as always. Thanks.
Cheers, bro. Appreciate it. Cheers, Nathan.
Plug yourself.
Plug yourself. Drop me a little follow on Instagram if you like. See what happens over in Europe, and we'll look forward to the next one.